I'm sitting here in just outside Stellenbosch, and we're going to be speaking to Henk Kleinschmidt. Am I pronouncing your name properly? Was it Kleinschmidt? Kleinschmidt. Okay. And I think his story is absolutely amazing. I got to hear about him through his brother Dirk, and Dirk basically came to me and said, Marianne, my brother is in hospital. Nobody knows what's wrong with him. They're doing all these tests on him. He's been to 3 different hospitals. Please, can you help him? And I said to him, just option 3, in chapter 3 of The Natural Way, raw, let him go for that, and in the meantime, fill out a health assessment form. And well, from there, it's basically, I'm going to really ask you, because I wasn't there. I didn't see you at the time. And, I just heard the story about this young guy who's in hospital, and, it literally sounded like you were dying and nobody knew what you were dying from. So what was actually wrong with you? I mean, I know Dirk said your muscles were literally not functioning, and you just couldn't get out of bed, and it seems like your whole body had just packed up. What?
Yeah, it was just kind of like a collapse, basically. My muscles, nothing functioned. I'd start shaking like someone who has Parkinson's. I struggled walking to the bathroom. If I would hold a cell phone in my hand, it would start shaking. And also, coordination was lost when someone would ask me to sit crossed legs or something like that. I couldn't do it. It's like the message didn't get through to my brain, so it was a complete, it's just a malfunction basically.
And how was your brain feeling? I mean, did it feel clear or was it really fuzzy?
I struggled. My vision started blurring at some stage. I had the worst headaches, migraines basically, so I couldn't read or concentrate for a long time. Also, if a conversation, got too intense, it would just pass me by, so it was it was just a complete malfunction and everything. And I had no idea what to say, so there was no...
And how long did that last? I mean, how long were you like that?
It started slowly. It was about at the end of March that it started, but I was in hospital for 2 weeks non-stop, but it really went just from bad to worse, basically. So.
And what did the doctor say?
We still don't have a diagnosis from any doctor, so, so they did all the tests. I mean,
What tests did they do?
Blood test, I don't know how much blood they drew, but I think that's maybe why I got sick. It sounds like it was leaders. And, they did lumbar punches, they did the MRI, they did EKGs, and, they looked at my blood vessels, heart diagrams.
And they found nothing?
No, every time I come back from a doctor, they just tell me everything is fine. So...
One of the things that I found interesting is that they actually put you on medication. Even though they didn't know what was wrong with you, they put you on medication. What kind of medication did they put you on?
It was basically for blood pressure and for the migraines they put me on. So it was Inderol. I think it's for blood pressure. That kind of stopped the shaking and stabilized.
So your blood pressure was very low then?
But that's the thing, even when I tested my blood pressure, it also looked fine. So that's,
So your blood pressure was fine, but they put you on medication for low blood pressure?
It was kind of up and down. My heart rate, it was one day they took my heart rate, it was 40 per minute, which is, not possible. I'm fit, but I'm not that fit.
Yeah.
And then the next day...
It's like a sleeping person.
Yeah, and the next day it's up to 70 or 80, which is also not quite, my resting heart rate's around about 60 normally. And, so I don't know, I think I was just kind of, grabbing at something. So what they did is we put me on medication, and it looked as if I improved, and I think that's where I left it, because there's no diagnosis still. So.
Are you still on any of the medication?
What I did is, because I was on almost like 12 or 13 pills a day that it started off with, and then after I started on The Natural Way, I started cutting it down. So at the moment I'm on only one. It's just a blood pressure pill. That's all, because they had me on antidepressants. Urbanol, which is also like a pill to calm me down.
And I think they're doing some cortisol as well, some kind of...
they had me on cortisone in the hospital for a while. Anti-inflammatories, it was just a bunch of stuff.
And on that, did you improve at all?
I did improve in the sense that I could function a little bit, like I could walk and at least, stuff like that. But I still had a loss of sensation on the left side of my body. That's how everything started.
You must have thought you were having a stroke or something.
Yeah, that's also one of the things they treated me for, was a stroke. Then they spoke about...
How old are you? 25?
25, yeah.
And they said Parkinson's?
Parkinson's was something that came up. The doctor, he didn't really go for it, but someone mentioned it. They tested me for like rare diseases like a copper disease. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a very rare disease, and kilobiray disease as well, and every single thing there is.
It's one of the things I think to test for as well.
All kinds of viruses, everything, and just nothing.
Nothing. Okay. And how many doctors did you see? Can you remember?
Sure. It's quite a bunch. It must have been. We're talking about more than 10, 12.
And your brain wasn't working so well, so you can't
remember. I can't really remember that. So, because it's all kind of, I even went to a dermatologist at some stage, so it was just crazy.
Was your skin reacting in some way?
What happened is I just got white spots on my hands, which was kind of strange, but I think it was just the effects of the medication probably, so that is also something I looked at, and I did everything, physiotherapist every day, so it was, it's unbelievable actually.
And then you heard from Dirk, and he said, go on raw food. And what did you think? Did he give you a book to read or anything, or did he just say?
Yeah, what happened is, luckily I stayed with him previously, so so I kind of I did follow your diet sort of, not exactly, but so it wasn't that bad. And then he came to visit. He actually came to look after me for a week, just as I came out of hospital. And I just started eating, on your natural way. And but when I got the email saying that I should go vegetarian completely, that was quite a surprise, because I like meat. So.
Yeah, you're an average South African young man, you must love meat.
But it's made an unbelievable difference. So, I'm really grateful.
And what was your diet like before? What would you eat for breakfast, for example?
Sure.
Now you've got to be honest here, okay?
Yeah.
What was a normal breakfast?
Normal breakfast was a cup of coffee.
With how many sugars?
3 sugars.
3 sugars, okay.
I like sugar. And that was it.
You like sugar. That's an interesting thing,
And because I usually start working at very early, so 6:30 in the morning. So I would have coffee. Then around about 9, I would go very healthy and buy myself a snacker, a yogurt snacker.
Okay, which is full of sugar.
And the yogi sip or something like that. And
then you drink yogurt with more sugar in it.
Yes, so really piled on the sugar. I was a Coke addict. I drank a lot of Coke. Must have been like a litre a day, half a litre a day.
Oh, really?
So snack would be
more sugar?
That's more sugar and caffeine, so that really helped. And then also, lunch would be like a sandwich, ham and cheese sandwich, something like that, toasted with mayonnaise.
On white bread, I'm sure.
White bread, And then supper would be anything, pasta, lasagna, that type of thing, or meat with potatoes, or,
Did you live at home, or you were cooking for yourself?
I cooked for myself, so it was at home. But it was my, fast food kind of thing,
just grab something,
whatever goes the quickest,
And what has changed? What are you doing now for breakfast? Just... I'm not trying to check you out here or pick on you, okay? Just so that people can actually see how vast the difference is.
Now I do a fruit breakfast, so that's basically just fruits. No
Are you
coffee.
having some nuts at all then?
Nuts in the mornings, I try and work that in. Sometimes I would eat some of your muesli products, after the fruit. So it's just fruit in the morning. Then I'll go through the day. If I'm hungry, we would snack on, also again fruits or some of your snacks or crunchies, something like that. Lunch would be salad, or I would cook some vegetables, but steam it basically. And then supper, also vegetables again, maybe stored out raw or something like that, So, and then nuts before I go to bed.
Okay, now what is the difference between before you changed the natural way? You said the medication sort of sounds like it sort of stabilised you and that you could get out of bed, but you weren't coming out of hospital.
No, I wasn't coming out of hospital, no. No, it's been an unbelievable improvement, because after I started on the natural way, 2 weeks later I went back to the doctor to see him again, neurologist, and he couldn't believe how I was looking and how I was doing, so it's just been unbelievable, the shaking is gone, the headaches disappeared, it's just an unbelievable improvement, I feel good in the mornings when I get up. I used to struggle with sleep a lot previous to hospitalization anyway.
Going to sleep?
Sleeping, kind of insomnia, I struggle with sleep. That's
now
gone.
You sleep nicely?
Sleep very nicely. Like I say, I feel good in the mornings when I get up. It's not that tired feeling when you get up. Also the mid-morning slump has definitely disappeared, or is much less than it used to be. yeah, and just all in all, energy levels much higher. You know, and I feel clear. You know, mind and everything.
Your
So
head starts
yeah.
working properly, yeah.
Yeah.
What did the doctor say when you went back to him? I mean, did you tell him you changed your diet?
I told him, but I started, you know, like cutting out certain things in my diet. So when I said about caffeine and sugar and meat and everything, you know, his response was kind of, that's great. You know, doesn't know if it's really going to help, but that's good. You know, if you feel it works, then do it. So, you know, he was happy, but I don't think he really believes that it, you know.
Well, the thing is, they don't study diet, so they don't see the relevance of it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I say, he was kind of keen on leaving with coffee, but as he said to me, about anything with coffee, you know, it's just less caffeine, so you'll probably sleep better. So there's no science behind it for him, if I can put it like that.
Yeah. I think that between the not sleeping and the sugar and the caffeine, you were just really hammering, from the sounds of it, like really hammering your central nervous system. And probably your adrenal glands. You know, adrenal glands manage stress, and they manage things like blood pressure and blood sugar. So I think, because we know that caffeine and refined sugar really hammers the endocrine system, which is the system that controls all of that, controls energy levels and muscle tone and brain function. I mean, literally everything. So my thinking at the time was looking at your diet and how you were eating, and the fact that you weren't sleeping.
Yeah.
You're unable to recharge your central nervous system properly, because that's how you recharge your central nervous system, is from sleeping. So if you're not sleeping, and then you're just keeping going all day on caffeine, eventually just central nervous system will collapse. And that, to me, is what it sounded like. But what amazes me is that at no time did anybody ask you what you ate when you got to the hospital, what your diet was like?
No, that was the... They never came up. So no, that's the last thing they considered.
And what did they feed you in the hospital? That's what I love to hear. What is it?
Yeah, I think you're going to enjoy this.
Jelly.
Yeah, no, it was your typical meal. It was like macaroni and cheese and, you know, chicken with rice.
And they gave you pudding after meals as well?
Yes, pudding. I got a lot of sugar in, yeah, that's good. And coffee in the morning.
Coffee in the morning with sugar.
Yeah, with rice.
So you're going into the hospital, you think to get better, but what they're doing is actually making things worse.
Yeah, and then, you know, if I think back at it now, every time, you know, after a cup of coffee with, you know, 3 sugars or whatever, and, you know, a biscuit or something, and I would start feeling bad and get headaches again, and, you know, no one can understand why, and I'm sitting there, I don't understand what's going on, you know, the shaking starts getting worse, so yeah, no, it wasn't a good cycle at all.
Yeah. Your diet when you were growing up as a kid, I mean, was it much the same, or was it just because you were living on your own that it was?
It was pretty much the same. Like the funny thing is, I actually thought I didn't eat that unhealthy, you know.
Yeah, because you were eating yogurts.
Yeah, because I eat yogurts, so that's good.
Bars.
And the snack of a yogurt snack, not the chocolate one, so
Yeah.
that must be healthy. But no, the diet as a child, yeah, you know, the typical South African diet, you know, potatoes, rice, meats, you know, that sort of thing. So, you know, we think it's healthy, but I mean, now I understand that it doesn't really work.
And as a kid, you loved sweets as well, I'm sure.
Yes,
sugar.
yeah, no, I did. Yeah, sweet tooth, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anything else that you can think of that has improved? I mean, you said your brain, and you said sleeping, and...
Yeah, also digestive system really.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
So that's also great. My skin has improved a lot. So, you know, I used to look quite pale. It's much better now.
Yeah.
And then also what was quite amazing is, you know, because they booked me off for about 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and they said no exercise really in that time. And after, you know, in about the 3rd week, I started swimming and exercising again, and you know, so everything is just functioned great. You know, I actually have energy to do it. It's just been an unbelievable turnaround. You know, still if I think about it and how I looked in hospital and what's going on now, it's it's kind of a miracle.
Quite a serious tennis player, and it was basically your career, tennis coach, from what I understand.
That's right. Yeah.
What amount of exercise were you doing on a daily basis?
That's also, you know, I had a very rough day. I'd start in the mornings at 6:30 exercise, you know, coaching up till 8 o'clock, you know, to kids. So then it's not exercise, but you're still walking around and you're active, you know, on your feet. Then after 8 I would go into the office and do admin and that sort of thing. Then from about 2 o'clock in the afternoons till 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the evenings, I would also be on court. You know, and that would involve me standing around or also playing against the kids. So I'm, you know, I'm very active in that sense. And that's about 5 days a week. That would be the program, you know. So I'm very active, but there was no exercise in a fun kind of way. You know, everything was work oriented. So
you began to hate it, I'm sure.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And have you stopped doing that now?
I'm
still
the
doing
business
it?
is still going, but I definitely, I'm not doing a lot less coaching. I'm doing about 4 hours a week, where I used to do about, almost 30 hours a week. So.
Are you doing any other form of exercise? You said swimming?
Yeah, I'm doing swimming now, and
and that's more fun.
Yeah, that's a lot more fun. Yeah, a lot more fun.
And then the other thing I wanted to ask you was, did you consume alcohol at all? Was it a factor? I mean, you're a young guy. I mean, did you go out at night and have a couple of beers?
Yeah, like we used to do that. On weekends we would have a couple of beers, and also I like my beer or glass of wine when I get home. So, but it was nothing excessive in the week,
No.
But I did consume alcohol. Yeah.
And since you've been, since the whole sort of episode of not being well, have you touched alcohol since? Has it affected you in any way?
Yeah, I actually mentioned it to them the other day. I've lost my taste for beer completely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I don't enjoy it at all. The wine is still nice, but I can only handle like a couple of sips, and then it's just like your body kicks against it, sort of. And so that's definitely changed. A lot of things have changed. Cravings for like biltong. I love biltong. And eggs and bacon and stuff like that. That craving, if I actually think about it, kind of makes me feel
like you really
nauseous.
Want to eat it. Oh, no, you don't want to eat it?
No, I don't want to eat it at all. I've lost the appetite for that completely. So.
It's actually an interesting thing, because your blood chemistry actually changes when you change your diet.
Yeah.
And that changes what's happening is you're actually starting to listen to your body, because you had this like terrible trauma in a sense with your body. You were like, what are you doing to me?
Yeah.
Now that it's well, you're kind of listening to it.
Yeah, that makes a big difference, kind of understanding what it wants.
And hopefully most people don't have to wait until they completely collapse. What I find interesting, and I've actually sort of mentioned, I've just done an update. I'm busy working on an update on the natural way, and adding a whole lot of stories and things. And one of your stories is one of them that I told, because just after this episode with you happened, my friend's son, who's 18, phoned to say that he's got a 17-year-old friend who can't get out of bed and his muscles don't want to work. It was the same story.
Sure.
And I said, what's his diet like? Lives on coke, loves sugar, everything with caffeine, just eating typical sort of junk food. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of this, because it's, in a sense, your generation's now the second generation that's been exposed to a diet that's high in sugar and caffeine. My grandparents and my parents grew up in an environment where, I'm sure if you ask your mom and dad, they'll tell you that they were not allowed to drink coffee and tea as kids. And it wasn't allowed.
No,
we weren't allowed fizzy cold drinks. It wasn't part of our lives. That stuff was just like a treat. So it's very interesting to see. But what I find so exciting is that your body responded so well.
Yeah, and
very quickly.
Very quickly.
The younger you are, the quicker it responds. So when people are sort of young, I just know of a young girl that's been diagnosed with cancer of the lymphatic system. She's also 25. And also changed her diet immediately, and her body started responding straight away. But when you're like 55 and this happens, it just takes a lot longer.
It takes longer, yeah.
So the fact that you've had this sort of warning sign now is fantastic. Now all we need to do is make sure that if you do one day get married, it's to somebody who's healthy, and you'll have healthy kids as well. You started the right way. Instead of like most of us, you started wrong and then your kids get sick. You told us how changing your diet affected your physical well-being. Did it affect you spiritually or mentally, emotionally, in any of those areas as well?
Yeah, I think in all areas, spiritually, mentally, definitely. Mentally, just being more alert, and also just the calmness. I've been much more relaxed and handled problems much better. It's just also the depression thing. I think is sort of in our family maybe. And it's definitely
probably the sugar and caffeine things in your family.
Actually, I think that's more of a problem.
Because it's the same in our family. I mean, there's a lot of depression on my dad's side of the family, and quite a few people have actually taken their own lives. So I thought, I've got this terrible problem.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize what my problem was. Is this response to sugar and caffeine, and alcohol was the other one that affected me. Not that I drank a lot. And then in the other areas, you say spiritually.
And spiritually also, I also believe that. A preacher once said, I think God wants us to, live such a healthy life. So people must look at us and wonder, what's the difference? And then I think this is part of it, because, I pray before I eat now and saying, thank you, God, for opening up your fridge. Because it's kind of, this comes directly from Him. I feel the way you eat now because it's so natural. So, so spiritually, definitely also, it's just, maybe realizing that we really should, take care of ourselves, and then what He's given us is good and healthy. He doesn't want us to be depressed and sad.
I love what you say about God opening his fridge, because it's one of the things I always say when I'm speaking to little children is that if we recognize that God made our bodies, then we should put God-made food into God-made bodies and we'll get God-made health. And that's really what you've seen. Because we tend to complicate things about health. I mean, a lot of people kind of avoid getting healthy because they think it's so complicated and you need to take 500 vitamin supplements and understand all these fancy names and words and stuff. And really all we need to be doing is saying, God made my body, let me put God-made food into it, which is let God open his fridge, which is go to your greengrocer, you know, and then you'll get, which is what's happened is you're now developing this God-made health, which I'm sure you're appreciating.
No, I'm loving it, and also, you know, just a lifestyle change, because it is, like you say, it is a different lifestyle, and it's a fun lifestyle, you know. I think most people want to get up and have fruit in the morning. I think actually most people have that desire, but if you see it as maybe too much trouble or something, and it's really
well, they think it's pudding.
Yeah, you know.
Can't eat fruit, it's not, because it doesn't have labels on it, and it doesn't say how many vitamins and minerals are in it. You think, well, it can't be as good as the cereal that's covered in sugar, because look at the label on the box of sugar, all these vitamins and minerals. So you're going to have a cereal thinking that, like your sweetened yogurt, you think, no, this is very nutritious because look what the label says. Meanwhile, the bananas are sitting there and they're just being ignored, and they're a lot more nutritious.
What I also found is, you know, because I have, had a couple of breakfasts, business breakfasts over the last weeks, and, you know, the guys would order the normal, you know, real big pura breakfast, you know, with bacon and eggs and sausages and toast, and I would order the fruit and muesli or, you know, whatever. And most of them would say that actually looks better than our food, you know, but they never go for it. But still, so it's kind of.
Well, they're going to get sick first before they change.
Yeah, but, you know, but also that looks very nice, you know. So it's kind of strange. I just think it's a mindset change.
And you mentioned in the email that your mom has really been touched about the change in your life. I mean, she must have seen changes in both of you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think my father actually, you know, has also become quite open to using barley green and then, you know, supplements like that, which he wouldn't normally do.
And barley life.
Barley life, sorry, And, my mom's also kind of started, you know, looking at the natural way differently. So, you know, there's definitely been changes in them. So, I think they've been improved.
So no more just race flash and aardappels anymore, hey?
Yeah, especially when we come. You know, so as I just got out of hospital, I did it 3 times a day.
Just the barley life extra or the straight barley life?
The barley life, extra, yeah.
The one that tastes nicer.
Yeah, and also the capsules, the flax.
The flax blend, the oil blend,
The oil blend, so I used to take that twice a day, and now I'm using barley twice a day and the flax only once a day. But for a month I did it like 3 times a day, everything. And that also made a big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference,
Henk, thank you very much for your time and your story, which is amazing. I mean, just the fact that you're so young and something like this happened to you. But we're seeing this happen to a lot of young people. Problems like this that they can't diagnose, or serious diseases like cancer or lupus, or a lot of these autoimmune types of diseases. And I think maybe in time the medical profession will begin to see that diet actually does affect the way we feel and our health and stuff like that, and when more people like yourself, you know, make those changes. So thank you very much, also for your honesty, and I look forward to hearing more as we go along. So thank you very much. Dirk, I remember that evening I was doing the talk and you came up to me afterwards and you looked very worried.
That's right.
You just basically said nobody knows what's wrong with your brother and he's in a bad way. Just I want you to tell us what you sort of thought at the time. What did he look like when you saw him, and the difference with what he looks like now?
Yeah, I think obviously me being down here in Stellenbosch and he's in Pretoria, you actually form your own picture.
Yeah.
I think the thing that concerned me the most is he's so young, and I thought, how can a life be wasted in this way? I think I was actually concerned about that a lot, and he had a lot going for him.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him till probably a week after we have spoken.
Yeah.
That night, and when I arrived in Pretoria, my other brother, we three brothers, fetched me from the airport, and because Henk couldn't come and fetch me, he weren't allowed to drive, and to me that in itself was quite a shock, and I realised he must be quite sort of debilitated, you know, limited in what he can do. And when I saw him arriving at the house, to me that was a very disturbing sight.
Yeah.
He was obviously quite pale. He looked skinny compared to what I used to know him, because he's a fairly athletic guy. And I think he was standing at the moment when I got out of the car, and he wasn't sure of his steps. He was sort of trying to fight for his balance, you know, as he was standing, you know, sort of just going like this. And I just realized that I'm seeing a young man that is weak, and I mean, he's got hopefully many years left.
Yeah.
So I think the timing of the episode, in terms of me getting there after you and I have spoken, was probably good, because it actually gave him a bit of a start. Yeah. And that's when you and I started speaking in Johannesburg with Sue and everybody else on the phone. Yeah, it was actually quite precious that you were prepared to respond.
Yeah.
I think the thing that made us decide to approach you is the value that you added to my and my wife's life, also through natural way. So we just, I think that's the only other way. The funny thing that would happen is my parents went to visit him in the hospital, and for a treat they said, well, we'll take you in the wheelchair, you know, to the cafeteria, and then get his favourite thing, cappuccino, and I don't know what the other thing was, probably something sweet. And he's had it, and then he couldn't open the bottle of mineral water. He started shaking, he was too weak, and my parents had to take him back in the wheelchair. And something in me clicked. He had caffeine and he had sugar. Because being in the natural way for quite a time now, we're sort of aware of patterns. Because my own body responds in a similar way than his. I just haven't been where he's been in terms of this episode. And then I said, we must get hold of you. I think there's something else going on here.
So how long have you guys been on the natural way yourselves?
About 5 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, all in all. I think the story started with Anita having a spastic colon.
Okay.
And then I had incredibly low levels of blood sugar.
Yes.
I'm careful to say, but I think the worst has been about 3 times a night. I would go in a sort of a coma and just...
Oh, really?
I can't get out of it. And she wouldn't know it, because I mean I'm quiet, you know.
Yeah.
and the whole battle to get out of that is just a horrific experience. And things started improving vastly. So we all sort of, I think in our family, tends to be sugar sensitive.
Yes.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
And so we had to make quite a few changes. But it's
probably
been
find your
good.
pancreas and adrenal glands don't work, or they just respond really badly to it.
I think so, yeah.
And that's the problem with the medical profession, is that they, you know, sugar and caffeine doesn't do this to everybody, so it can't be it. They just assume that because everybody doesn't respond like that, it's not it.
Yeah.
Whereas some people respond really differently to it. So you responded badly to it as well, and also just couldn't function. I mean, you as the wife, what did you do? Did you just think that he was like really tired? All right, Anita, I wanted to ask you, how did, you know, your husband having these low blood sugar episodes, what did you think was wrong with him, or did you not realize anything? Did you just think that he was very tired?
Yeah, I think I didn't really know that sugar could have that effect, because it doesn't have that effect on me as it has on him. So I think many times I thought, no, you didn't sleep well, or you didn't take enough vitamins, or things like that. I never thought it could be sugar, because sugar gives me a high and I don't feel that drop afterwards. So it didn't, because it didn't affect me, I thought, no, it must be something else. I never thought it could be that.
So you got into the natural way because you had digestive problems?
Yes, I lived with Teresa the Toy, the runner.
Okay.
And I think it was really an intervention for me to stay with her, because she got me from 2-minute noodles and steers to vegetables and fruit. Yeah. So she had quite...
This is before you got married.
So
you had no chance.
No chance. And she had quite an impact, because sometimes what I found difficult with the natural way was having ideas of what to prepare and not eating the same thing every day. So it was nice living with somebody who's doing it and to see what she's making, and so it sort of gave me ideas, and also I just saw the effect it had on her, because I knew, comparing to anybody else that I know, the way she drains her body.
Yeah, I mean she's...
And she must be doing something so right to keep her going like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that made an impact on me, and it changed.
And
my
Teresa
life.
Detoy, just for people that didn't see the one DVD and digital magazine, she's one of the top South Africans. She's long, medium distance runner, hey? Medium
she
distance.
did marathons
As well, yeah. And we did, I think she was on DVD 2 or 3, one of those. Yeah. She's amazing, and she's very focused on healthy eating. But what I wanted to ask you was, I know that you are a very seriously committed Christian couple. And I know I battled with the fact that I was, that I'm a Christian and I suffered from these terrible mood swings and depression which were related to my blood sugar. I couldn't understand how, as a Christian, I had this problem. And I don't know whether that affected you in any way. Did you at any time think, God, why, this problem, or why is my health bad, or did it affect you at all, or have you changed, your way of thinking? Because I know a lot of people that are Christians feel. I actually had one guy actually tell me that by following a healthy lifestyle, I'm denying the fact that God will heal them, because, I'm saying that it's all our responsibility. And so he just felt that he needed to eat anything he wanted to, and if he got sick, then it was an opportunity for God to heal him. So have you got any thoughts on it? Have you had any other Christians sort of saying things to you, or any feedback from any of the people around you?
The one thing that I realized, in a way, maybe, I don't know if it's because I'm a Christian, but I think in the church where we were, they actually told us a lot about, you have to deal with the root.
Yes.
Don't just deal with the fruit.
Yes. Okay.
And in a way, it's a whole mentality, a way of thinking for me to deal with the root instead of the fruit. So instead of, when you have a headache, just have a pill, try and find out, why do I have this headache? What's the cause of this thing? So for me, I think in that way I started to look at my diet, not just my spiritual life, but also about my diet. There must be a cause for the way my body's reacting like this. So that changed my thinking. I think being a Christian changed from what I learned. And the other day I just listened to a tape where a guy talked about healing and how we should have enough faith to be healed. And I just had that thought about, why don't you just eat right?
Yes.
You don't need faith if you just eat right.
Yeah, well, in a sense, eating right is having faith that God created a body that can repair itself. So actually it's having more faith in a sense.
Yeah, and taking responsibility for your life, not just wanting other people, I get sick and other people have to heal me, or I gotta have faith. Just do your part, eat healthy, and you don't need that much faith for that specifically.
I think for me the thought that comes up is also about stewardship, in a good sense, meaning that when I started going through these episodes and stuff, you do get incredibly depressed and down when your blood sugar hits the bottom, and the sort of questions that starts arising in your spirit or inner man are tremendous questions. It's God, why am I here? Why am I alive? And you feel down and you snap very easily. And I remember that very well. And I mean, that'll still happen today if I'm not careful. But I think that the bigger thing about this is that it made me realize that we are on this earth for a purpose. Establishing God's kingdom, giving birth to it around us. And if I keep on messing my life up like I did, without me knowing that I was doing it, I would probably not have the effect that I'm supposed to be having. And so in a sense, being ignorant for me was being selfish. Realize that there's something out there that's bigger than you are, and you've got to position yourself to be able to attain that, or accomplish that, and live a fulfilled and satisfied life. I think that's it. And also the testimony coming from this is powerful in the sense that it gives life to so many people. If our lives weren't changed, started changing 5 years ago because of what you and Mark are doing, we probably wouldn't have been able to direct Henk there.
Yes.
And his story is having a great offspring again, and hopefully it'll. So I think there really is good sense to be made out of it, for everybody.
I think the thing that you were saying as well as taking responsibility for our bodies is something that is the main focus really of what I do. Because I try to discourage the sort of dependency on me. I don't like it when people, somebody once introduced me as the guru of health. I don't want to be anybody's guru. You must sort your own. It's like in Christianity, the Bible tells us to work out our own salvation in fear and trembling. And in a sense, that's what we need to do with our health as well. We've got to take responsibility for ourselves as Christians in our spiritual area, then we should be doing it in our physical area as well. And that is a message that I feel very strongly about. Did it improve your relationship with each other if you stopped feeling down and a bit depressed and snapping and stuff?
I mean, most
Is your wife not going to admit to this?
No, she's free to do that.
Because I know it improved mine dramatically. I think I would have gone, my husband would have run away if I'd carry on behaving the way I did. So I don't know about you. You sound quite calm compared to me, though.
I think the thing is, for me, is I found it difficult to live with myself.
Yes.
Because you experience mood swings, and not being aware that sugar or caffeine can actually be the trigger. I started thinking, what is happening from the outside? You know, how can it be that something like this upsets me to this level? Didn't I handle the deal right? Didn't I, or is it something in this person that triggered this in me?
Or are you under spiritual attack? Because it's another one. A lot of people think
yeah.
they're under spiritual attack when it's actually a physical thing, you know.
That's right. So it really has made a difference to actually understand that there's a point from where it can begin to work with. I think the sad thing for me is if this keeps on long enough, you actually start thinking, you've got a bad self-image or something. And
God doesn't love me.
This thing actually gets it's sort of a snowball effect. And sometimes I did realize, I was so unfair towards Anita because I snapped for no reason at all. For some reason, or you feel very down and you think, just go have a handful of nuts or something, and suddenly I feel bright and sort of, alright again. So certainly it had an effect on the people around me. I think in my relationship with God, it does help you to ask the right questions.
Why?
Why? And where you were turning sort of inward, and sort of confused because you didn't know where to point at when you tried to find a solution. At least you got one thing is right.
If you can sort out your diet, then you know that's one area sorted. Now you can deal with the spiritual area.
Exactly. But the thing is, the intensity of other problems suddenly lessens.
Yes.
Because
that's exactly it.
Because now it's not so much the spiritual warfare issue anymore, or whatever else you would have called it at that stage. It might just be a common sense thing. Maybe you need some sleep. I don't know, but it's not it's not this deep thing anymore. And I started realizing life doesn't have to be that deep. There's fun to be had, and there's good stuff to be done. But previously I didn't have the energy. I would walk up a staircase and be so tired I couldn't get to the door. I remember it very specifically in Stellenbosch where I lived. It was hard work getting up a staircase.
Goodness sake.
And it's not so anymore.
People don't realise how bad the effect of sugar can be, and caffeine, as you say. And I didn't realise when I started interviewing, Henk, that you also had this, we'd spoken, but we hadn't really spoken about you guys. And it can have serious impact on... you can imagine what it would have affected your marriage in time to come. Say you'd had children and now this thing got worse and worse. And, I certainly know that it affected me really badly. So thank you for your honesty and for sharing that. And I know it's going to influence many other people's lives, and a lot of people will be touched because you were prepared to just talk about that. So thank you.